Welcome to CivilNet. We have two special guests here in our studio. We're going to be talking about the European Commission's Erasmus Plus program. Welcome to the program. I'd like to introduce you, Jose Gutierrez. You are the representative of the European Commission for Erasmus Plus in Eastern Europe and Central Asia. You're working on specific projects. And Lana Karlova, you are the Armenian representative, the representative in Armenia of Erasmus Plus, the coordinator. I want to, just for our viewers, so they understand we're talking about these terms, Erasmus Plus. Please explain to us what it is.
Okay, the cooperation between universities in Europe or in the member states of the European Union started 28 years ago, in 88, 87, with a program that was called Erasmus, and which has become a brand name of the European Commission actions in the EU. Erasmus has had many children, starting with more than 3 million European students who have been moving during these 27, 28 years between one partner country to another program country to another program country. Today we have what we call 32 program countries, which are the member states and those countries that are including in our cooperation. But this was a limited activity. The program very soon, the European Union very soon realized that cooperation between European universities, which was a must in order to arrive to a more convergent and harmonized environment of higher education in all the member states, the 28 member states nowadays, needed also to be presented abroad and to open this possibility of inter-university cooperation and mobility of staff and students at university level, not only within the EU, but with our partner countries. We call our partner countries, in fact, the rest of the world, with those countries that are not part of the Union. And this started already at the beginning of the 90s with programs like Tempus, which is a program which is very much familiar to the universities here in Armenia. I think Armenia joined Tempus in 95, so 20 years ago. Other programs were addressing cooperation between the EU and Latin America, a program called Alpha, between the EU and Africa, a program called EduLink. And there was another program that was launched at the beginning of the year 2000, in 2004, 2007 for its second phase, which was called Erasmus Mundus, which is also very well known in Armenia because Erasmus Mundus was in fact the predecessor of the program I'm representing here today in Yerevan, which is Erasmus Plus. And Erasmus Mundus aimed at implementing long-lasting cooperation and mobility exchanges between universities from the EU and universities from partner countries. All these programs I've just mentioned came to an end in 2013, and there was a willingness at the level of the Commission to create a sort of umbrella program. We did this already in the context of research, where the framework programs in research from the EU are overarching programs that cover many dimensions of research. In education, we never managed that. We had some programs that were targeting school education, so that were targeting youth, or that were targeting vocational education, and finally quite a number of programs that were targeting higher education. So this observation makes that a new program was created, an overarching program called Erasmus Plus, which is the framework program for education, training, youth and sport in the EU and between the EU and the partner countries.
And it's for the 2014 to 2020, so
2014 to 2020, it has a lifespan of 7 years, which is longer than the previous generation of programs, which were usually of 5 years. It has an increased budget also. For the 7 years, it's 17 billion euros. This shows also that despite of the financial crisis that our member states, our continent has known in the beginning of the 21st century, the governments of the member states of the EU continue to consider and to believe that education is one of the driving forces that will create European citizens of the future. One important dimension of Erasmus Plus is not only to bring all these sectors of vocational training, youth, sport, adult education, primary schools, etc., and higher education within the umbrella program, but also to bring, to broaden the program and cover non-EU cooperation. And I'm particularly working for all the dimension of Erasmus Plus that is addressing cooperation at university level between the EU and its partner countries. There, out of these 17 billion euros, 10%, 1.7 billion approximately, will be dedicated to cooperation activities and exchange, i.e. mobility of students and staff of higher education between the EU and our partner countries. This 1.7 billion is separated into what we call financial instruments that target different areas of the world. For instance, there is an instrument covering Africa, Caribbean, Pacific. There's an instrument covering cooperation with Asia and Latin America. And it's a very important instrument that we call the neighborhood policy instrument that covers all those countries that are closer to the EU.
Right.
Two regions in particular, South Mediterranean region, which is a very sensitive region for the moment due to the events that we all know that have taken place in the Arab Spring and in Syria nowadays and the crisis of the refugees. But also the closest neighborhoods that we have at the eastern part, the Western Balkans, and what we call the Eastern Partnership, which is composed of 6 countries, the 3 Caucasus countries plus Moldova, Ukraine.
Georgia.
No, the three Caucasus, Georgia, Azerbaijan, and Armenia, and then the 3 from the Eastern Europe, Ukraine, Moldova, and Belarus. And this part, the neighborhood part, if we look at the 1.7 billion I told you, which is only dedicated to extra European cooperation, the largest envelope is going to the neighborhood area. For the South, because of the crisis and because of the need to continue working and to continue supporting the efforts of the universities in these countries which have been going through a difficult situation for the last 10 to 15 years, and in particular to the East. And that's why I am here today. The Erasmus Plus program was launched in 2014, as I said. There are basically 2 specific actions that are targeting cooperation with non-European universities. One, which is the core of our program, which has been the brand name of the EU cooperation in education, which is mobility. So we aim at moving around 140,000 students and staff from all over the world to the EU within this 7-year span. And the other one is intra-institutional cooperation, i.e. universities working together in order to build capacity in the universities of our partner countries. And I'm particularly working in that action.
It's a very adventurous, I would say, and a very heavy load that you're dealing with. I want to come back to certain aspects of what you said, but I want to talk to Lana now. We've heard of Erasmus Mundus, and we've seen many Armenian students using the opportunity to go and study in Europe. What is your office in Armenia doing currently within the Erasmus Plus? So students still have the opportunity to apply for funding to go and study in Europe, but beyond that, what else are you doing here?
In previous time, we called National Campus Office, and now we changed to Erasmus Plus. And our role is to promote and disseminate information on different activities which already exist in Erasmus Plus. We have contacts with all the institutions, and we encourage them to be a part of the cooperation they could have with the European Union, but now we call them program countries, 33 program countries, 28 countries of European Union plus Norway, Liechtenstein, Iceland, Macedonia, and Turkey. All this possibility. We are within the selection procedure of the projects, and the Ministry of Education, the EU delegation, and our office are taking part into the consultation. This is actually the last period of the selection. We supporting applicants. We're supporting, first of all, universities and individuals as well. If they come to our office or ask questions by phone, we are very glad to answer any questions concerning individual mobility. They can apply for the joint master degree programs. which is more than 100. And this year, 6 people are selected for joint master degree among 100, more than 100 applications, and 48 was in reserve, but 6 people. But also we have credit mobility. It's a number of credit mobility. It's a bilateral cooperation between our institutions and program countries.
And have the institutions in Armenia benefited? I mean, do you have some qualitative, quantitative sort of studies that you've done to see how they have been able to benefit from this kind of cooperation?
Just since 1995, when Armenia started participating in Tempus, actually we got funded 72 projects. It's a quite big number, and among 72, 28 are ongoing. Among 28, 8 projects are coordinated by Armenian universities. It's a big challenge for them, and we encourage also just to take responsibility to their side, for their side.
So they have been responsive to that.
Yeah, much more, because before and until that time, when 2 years ago, before that, European Union universities from that part, they were leaders, they were grant applicants, but now they're creating some space for our institutions. And we have newcomers for newly selected 5 capacity building projects, beside this 28. Public Administration Academy, but Yerevan State Medical University are running 2 as coordinator, 2 projects, Yerevan State University, Academy of Fine Arts, and Brussels University, as well French University, and Armenian Pedagogical University, and Armenian State University of Economics. Right. There's different. I would mention that Tempus and Capacity Building Project, they have several directory. There's a curriculum development, and we have, for the moment, we have around 9 projects are going, and many projects within the governance, how to manage universities.
Sure, because that could be just as important as the academic curriculum sometimes.
Yeah. It's about human resource management, about autonomous, about financial management, etc., etc. And then the third directory, it's how to link university with the non-academic world. It's also having around 8 ongoing projects.
Oh, very good. Mr. Gutierrez, you are now in Yerevan at the American University of Armenia. Tell us what you're doing here with that.
The program is implemented on the basis of calls for proposals, so it's really a bottom-up program which gives the tools to individuals and organizations to apply for support, individual students for scholarship, and universities for grants for cooperation projects. On a yearly basis, we publish our call for proposal. This was done in the 15th of October. And then together with another 40 colleagues of the EU, we are living in our suitcase for the last 2 months and the next 3 months, because the deadline for applications is in the first quarter of 2016. So our presence today in Yerevan, in Armenia, is to promote the new call, to explain the stakeholders, the local stakeholders, what they can do with Erasmus+, to invite them to apply as universities or as individuals. Lana is very modest, but the National Erasmus+ office, or former National Tempus office in the partner country, is a very important instrument for our programs, because they bring the program closer to the end beneficiaries. They're doing a role of promoting and advertising and encouraging individuals and organizations to apply, but they also monitor the implementation of projects, which means that universities in Armenia are followed by Lana and her team. I'm here today with a colleague who will stay longer than me, because she also wants to follow the project. So tomorrow and the day after tomorrow, they will go and visit 2 or 3 projects in Armenia, in order to see how the funding really has an impact in the partner country. Because this part of the budget that I refer to, this 1.7 billion targeting what our partner countries, The aim of the grant is really to contribute to modernization of universities in the partner countries. And although the majority of our projects are still coordinated by European universities, although European universities are bringing their expertise and their knowledge of 20 or 30 years of cooperation, we really want that the end results and that the impact takes place in the partner country. So the program supports staff costs, they support travel and subsistence costs, they support equipment for the universities, and all the activities that are necessary in order, let's say, to create an international relation office in a university, to improve the quality assurance mechanism, to develop new curricula, to take into account the changes in the way teaching and learning is ongoing
changing.
now. Exactly, changing the mentality of the students, but also of the professors.
Right.
We get to be honest, I've been a professor also in a previous life before joining the EU. The way professors have to address the needs of our young population today has nothing to do with the way I was taught, the way you were taught probably, and the way I was teaching when I was a professor. Today, professors have to adapt to a world in constant evolution, to a world which is globalized through to the digital revolution, to a world where challenges are everywhere, and to the world where mobility and internationalization has become a normal thing. When Erasmus started in 87, 88, mobility was looked at as something really strange. People went abroad for holidays, they went abroad maybe for work, and not a lot of them, they didn't go abroad to study. And to send a student from the UK to Spain in the 90s, I must say it was very difficult, because UK universities were saying we are the best of the world.
Absolutely.
We have nothing to learn from Spain.
I don't remember when I was in university about study abroad programs,
Exact.
and now it
And now
seems to be the norm in every university all over the world.
Absolutely.
And this is such a fantastic program that allows countries like Armenia, who are still in developmental stage, to take advantage of the knowledge, experience, expertise that the European Union universities can support for us. You know, I want to end our conversation on something that you said, that despite the global economic downturn, despite the challenges that are facing all of the partner countries of the EU, the commitment to education, I think, has to be the cornerstone for all countries, because that is how we build societies and assist the young generation to move forward and build better, more equitable societies.
We could, of course, be more ambitious, and the money is never enough.
Sure.
It is a drop in the sea, but it's our responsibility of the EU, of the Erasmus, the National Erasmus Plus Office in Armenia, and more importantly, the end beneficiaries of this drop, to make the best of it. And I think that our presence here is to try to help them to reach the funding, and when the funding has been obtained, to ensure that the results of the project or that the learning outcomes of the mobility are really bringing positive elements to Armenia, to its higher education sector, and to all the students and staff in the universities.
Thank you very much. Thank you for taking the time. I know you're rushing. You have a very busy schedule here in Yerevan, going back to the American University right now. Thank you for enlightening us about the Erasmus Plus, and we will be following it, and hopefully all of us will see the benefits of it down the road.
Okay.
Welcome to Erasmus Plus Information Day. We do that annually, and next year, welcome.
An appointment for
There you go. Very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
I'd like to remind our viewers that my guests were Jose Gutierrez and Lana Karlova. Please keep following CivilNet.